G'day, punters. Welcome to the Sydney Review Show. It was the Bondi, and well, it was certainly wet enough. It was wet enough to be a beach, but nowhere near as picturesque. Mark Shean, we'll start with the NRL. You're on the Panthers at the better price. Can you just recap your thoughts during the game there?
Well, I was out of my misery a long way out. I know that, but I'm used to backing seconds, Peter, so I was able to suck it up.
I guess, a more positive side, Mark Rhoden, your team, Richmond, got the job done after, I don't know if they were necessarily looking in massive trouble early on in the game, but they certainly gave you a few things to think about in the second quarter, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely. The same thing happened in the prelim final last year. They got 4 goals in front, and almost identical thing happened in the second half. I know it's been going on for about 3 or 4 seasons now, but it's still feels new to me. Richmond were just rubbish for the first 30 years of my life, and I'm struggling to get a handle on this. They're just winning every year.
Well, yeah. I mean, now you can just sit back and relax for another couple of months, and then all of a sudden you'll get to go see games again next year. It's a bit of a novelty.
Very, very much so.
I'm assuming probably a bit too much there. Rob Scurry, another day, another win in the yard. And your old mate Cuba. We'll talk about him in a sec, but what is it about Cuba that you love so much?
Just he looks like a top horse, always has from the time he was a 2-year-old. I remember backing him at his first start, loomed to win, didn't win. Even backed him in the Black Opal. He's just a big, powerful boy who walks around really professional and gets better, deeper into a prep. So even when you do your money on him, early in the prep, if you can usually get it back. And I think, never looked like getting beat. And with its pattern, you can have a bet before the race with Betfair. And there's a couple of times now that I've done that and put more on expecting to lay it off, and I haven't. I just kind of let it ride and ended up with a big result. So my favourite horse, not just because I like the look of him, but he's won me a lot of money.
Yeah, well, speaking of the pattern, he was obviously suited there on Saturday. Was for the most part pretty much I wouldn't say it was a 1 lane, maybe a 1.5 lane highway. Is that probably what would be going for there, Mark Shean?
Well, this was very disappointing what they've turned out here. We had 28 degrees on Friday. They managed to water the track 3 mil in the 24 hours prior to the meeting, despite the fact that there was 5 to 15 mils predicted. And this is the result of continually watering the track. And when a little bit of rain hits, it was spitting rain, and we got 3 mil in the morning before the first. And after the first, it looked like a bog. One leading rider came in after the first and said it was a bog, and it was.
Yeah. I guess we probably just end up banging our head against the wall trying to come up with any solutions for it. But yeah, disappointing, obviously. And we did speak about, conditions being a little bit variable, Mark Rhoden, over the previous few weeks, regarding wind. But the rain certainly added in that extra dimension there on Saturday.
Yeah, far wetter than I planned for. Just another example of these days, betting the early markets is just becoming fraught. It's even if you see a price you really, really like, especially in Sydney, it's just you just end up with a totally different race.
Just don't
rain
do it.
Certainly had an impact, but but even when it rained, it took me a couple of races to get a handle on the fact it was going to be leaderish, because that wasn't what I expected when the track was wetter than I forecast. So just becoming more sort of bet later and later. That's becoming the game as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. We'll start with race 3 and work our way through the rest of the card. The Brian Crowley Stakes over 1,200. The Bopper has won here. They've gone slow for the class, 3.5 lengths slow to the 600. Rob, I'll just start with yourself. In the yard, what did you think of race 3 here?
Oh, I thought the Bopper, he looked well. I think I had him third in the numbers. His coat looked great. He's an athletic type of horse, probably a bit of a wetty on type, but at this stage I hadn't kind of worked out how wet the track was. So missed opportunity. I went again on Destination, and beautiful ride. Your girl, Rachel King. Wow, had it looked like it was going to win, but I don't know how forgiving we have to be on this track, but it was disappointing on the lead again. A little bit disappointing. I think the winner's got a good future, especially next prep. I hope they don't run him too many times this time in.
Mark Shean, how forgiving are we of a horse like Destination in this race?
Yeah, well, I'd probably forgive him. There was a lot of kickback in this race, and look, he presented there at the top of the straight and looked to be going quite well. And then as soon as she asked him for an effort, he was gone in a stride. So I'm not sure that he handled the track. Maybe the 1200 was against him as well in hindsight, but I'd be prepared to forgive him this run. The winner, well, I thought he looked trained right up at Canterbury and had a tough run there. And maybe that's just the type that he is. He doesn't carry a lot of condition. Certainly a lovely ride in front here, controlled the race and just sprinted away and got into the right position in the race.
Mark, Rhoden, anything you're taking out of the Brian Crowley there on Saturday?
Not much more to add to what the guys have said already. Destination I was on too. I think it just spun its wheels when she went for it, and yeah, I'll put that down to the track. The winner had sort of put, over the course of the two preparations, he had put three sort of performances all around the same level, which can be the platform, and he probably got a track pattern to suit on Saturday playing the leaders, but he certainly made that improvement. And he's just on the raw numbers I'm looking at, it's a pretty impressive first few starts he's put together. So yeah, could have a future.
Okay.
But the second horse was good too. I mean, he probably had the right run, but I thought its trial suggested it had come back better, and this run suggests it certainly has. So there's got to be a win in him, I would think.
Yep. Second horse in Tommy Gold there for John O'Shea. Race 3, 1400 metre quality, and this is where the boy got it done. Cuba for Rob Scurry. They've gone even here for the class in terms of tempo, 1.5 lengths fast to the 600, just perfect Nash right out in front. Rob, obviously you've touched on Cuba already. Did you like anything else in the parade here?
Yeah, Rainier took my eye. He's a quality horse, big in condition. I've noticed that a lot with the Godolphin stable. Creaderis looked like she was finally close to top. Like all prep, she's looked underdone, and I've been happy to take her on. But from the parade, she kind of looked. Anyway, so I've put the Quinella on, and I should have put the boxed exacta tips for young players there. Anyway, Rainier, I want to follow out of the race. Cuba, I just want to have a look at him again. He can go well again. Might get suited again on a wet track,
Yep. Mark Rhoden, this was the best performance of the day on the punting form figures. Does that line up with how you've interpreted this race?
Yeah, pretty close. Maybe had Peltzer up with it, but it's certainly the best run of Cuba's career. Again, pattern suited him, but just got into his rhythm out front with Nash. He'd won well for Nash at least once before. I think down in Melbourne he got on a leaders track and rated pretty highly too. But yeah, he's just had condition. As Rob said, he's a great horse. But these horses that race on the speed are just great horses to back. And horses like Creaderis, who seem to be, I thought they were going to try and ride him closer at some stage this prep, and they just haven't. Maybe you just can't. And keep taking odds on. It's a, what's he won 2 races this prep, and gone over at very short odds on the other occasions. So horses with that racing style are not the ones you want to be taking short prices about. I agree with Manny. I want to see him on a dry track. I don't think he's a wet tracker.
Yeah. Can we say it's a bigger run than Creaderis' run? Against the pattern, it seems to have got pretty close.
Yeah,
I think got to be forgiving.
The get back horses are the ones that are going to be more unsuited more often than not. The problem with taking odds on them. Yeah.
So what do you want to do with there on a dry surface in 2 weeks' time, Creaderis? Judge it on its merits.
I don't know. I mean, it's got such a strong SP profile. If it turns up in 2 weeks in a similar field, it's probably $1.60. So what do you do?
I want to see.
He was probably crying out for 1600 even the other day. He took a long time to win with no weight on his back. Yeah. And I think he showed even less speed on Saturday, and obviously the pattern's against him. And 1400 at Randwick can be very leaderish, and it's proven to be that way again. So I think he's just crying out for 1600 metres. And as Rob said, he's getting a little bit fitter with each run as well. So maybe they'll head to Melbourne with him and try and find a race at Flemington, perhaps.
And with the SF.
I'm not sure if he'll make the Golden Eagle field. I think I'm not sure how far down in the ballot he is.
And what are we doing, Mark Shean, with a horse like Archidemus?
Well, I thought he may have come back with the new stable. Their last starter was obviously a better run than Cuba. He finished in front of him, but he got conditions to suit here and was very disappointing. And he, he's a good wet tracker normally in the past and was on speed. So, yeah, I'd have to sack him off that run.
Interesting to point out, Cuba, Mark Rhoden, he won Manikato Stakes night last year with Nash on board.
Yep, there you go.
At the Valley and won by 4 lengths. So, I don't know, just likes the weekend, I guess. Race 5, the Tats Cup 2,400 metre listed race. Knight's Order for Waterhouse, Bott and Winona Costin. And again, just another leader. They've gone slow here for the class, 4.5 lengths slow to the 600. Rob, run us through the stayers.
Who went on? I sent Scarlet Dream out on top. Worried about the wet track. I did find the 9. I think he had second in the numbers, and then by this stage I was after Cuba winning. I think, yeah, maybe leaders are suited. Rondinella looked at top. It was at top Waller about Ducan. So yeah, nothing really surprised me. Attention Run, I guess, is the disappointing performance in the race, but just a bunch of slow horses. Scarlet Dream I'll probably find again. She's still got a bit more improvement in her. But, maybe stand her out for 4th. She keeps running 4th.
Mark Shean, are you following any of these slow horses going forward?
No, I'll end up in an asylum if I keep betting in these races. When luckily I didn't, and I wouldn't have found the winner. It was 40s in, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah,
in 41 pre-post. So too good for me.
It was the horse's second start in Australia, Mark Rhoden, was it not? Knight's Order?
Yeah, well, it was scratched at the barrier one day, then it ran the Port Macquarie Cup. It was nowhere near him on figures, but the way the track was playing, but it was back during the week before the track pattern became evident, and they've just gone again. So they've done well here. This was the second leg of a Saturday Metro double for Winona Costin, wasn't it? It was.
Yep.
Good on her. And she rode this a treat. She rode the first one even better. That ride on the highway was 10 out of 10. Anyway,
Girl Tuesday?
I didn't back it. When the rain came, I gave it a miss. Thank God. But still managed to stuff it up completely because I got really clever and backed to Tension Run and saved on Scarlet Dream. Tension Run's gone awful. Thought she was looking for a wet track, just been terrible. And Scarlet Dream probably get me again with the jockey change because that was just gave it absolutely none. But she is she is what she is. She just doesn't win, does she? But,
well, the talking point is, should this horse have been declared a non-starter or not? I know it's up to Stewart's discretion with Girl Tuesday. Got a head turned to the right, so not in adjacent stall, but certainly not standing right. We had a case a couple of years ago where a horse got its leg up on a petition and was scratched. I remember the Reveneer Ty Anglin was a short price favourite. It ran a cracking race. It ran home to run 5th. I was on it and said, oh, well, I've done my money cold. And they declared it a non-runner, surprisingly. So I'm just wondering, what are the guidelines of, what makes you a non-starter now? Because I'd never heard of that before. It got a leg up on the petition and was declared a non-runner, and now they're saying that you can't have your head to the side.
I always thought, like an attendant had to have hold of it or something like
exactly.
That. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Well, it's not protecting the punter, is it, really?
No, it seems like
Peak racing. In the race, but...
We don't worry about that in New South Wales, Mark. Come on.
New South Wales or anywhere, geez. All right, the main event, the Bondi, the whatever it is, mile race, worth a lot of cash. Peltzer. I was actually surprised that the market didn't come for him more readily. I mean, we discussed it on Thursday. He had the wet track figures. He's obviously going to be dictating the race, and really didn't seem to come for him in any great fashion. But it was an even tempo. It was a perfect ride from Tim Clark out in front, 1.2 lengths faster to 600. Rob, how did he look on Saturday?
Maybe not quite as good, but it wasn't quite a good day. It was to look at the horses. So I just thought he'd just come down a little bit off that. I thought Eliza Bill had really come on. She looked almost a stand out of the yard, which is saying something. They've sort of pulled her up again. She's raced ungenerously. Bit weird. Don't know what's going on there. But yeah, Peltzer, opportunity missed. Obviously leaders suited. he hadn't come off that much. Chop out race should have been we had 5 units on him to start before. So
Yeah.
one of my horses, opportunity missed.
Mark Shean, when the change of tactics for Lizabelle came forward to suggest it was going to settle closer, what exactly did they mean by closer?
Yeah, well, I thought she would be a little bit closer than that. I was surprised she was so well back, though. Peltzer brained her in the winter on the wet and met Peltzer 2 kilos worse. And I thought Elizabeth's form had actually improved when she'd got on top of the ground.
Yeah.
Like she'd been easily beaten on a heavy track by Rhoden at Canterbury as well. So she didn't really have any wet form credentials. I suppose they were just backing her for pattern. If she was going to be up on the speed. But I think when the rain came and the track got so bad that Lizabelle and Acrophobic absolutely had none. And you wouldn't have to be in Mensa to find out that Peltzer was going to be in the right spot.
Mark Rhoden, what are we doing with the Bondi? Are we just assuming that none of these horses are winning a race ever again like Kubrick, or are they a bit better than that?
Peltzer can, if he strikes a wet track, it can win at a good level, I think. There was one section on the market that didn't miss him. The totes hemorrhaged in the last 10 seconds. That's where the money's gone on it. I was surprised too that it wasn't a big shortener. I was on Elizabeth earlier when I was expecting a better track, and I had something on Real Pisa and really well, but in the hour or so, half hour before the race, I've said, no, this is Peltzer's race now, and had to certainly make sure I wasn't losing on him. But I thought he'd be into 240 or something, and he was on the totes, but yes, still much better than that fixed. Panned out perfectly for him. Looked his race the way the track was playing, and that's the way it panned out.
Yep. All right, race 7, Nifson, over 1,200 metres, the Group 3. There she is, positive pace. Got there in the end. Wasn't on. Outstanding. Even race, again, just perfect tempo up front. Rob, just run us through some of these mares for us.
I'm a bit sick about this. I found a spot for positive pace in my numbers, had a fourth. Never been my horse though, just beaten me. So bad move. $16. How did it get that long? A theory. She sort of maybe at the end of it now. I wouldn't be too keen to follow her forward. I do generally like that stable a bit fresher the better. Blazing Mists, still one short. Wonder Bar couldn't have paraded much better. Seemed suited with the wet track, but Jen Rules as well. I ended up being on her on top, and she never went a yard. It's meant to be a wet tracker. On top in our ratings, just ba-boom.
Mark Shean, what did you think of the Nivison there on Saturday?
Yeah, well, Mark tried to tell us on Thursday that this mare had a very good chance because the tongue tie went on after she'd probably choked down last start. I'd been on her in the mile race and was on Wonder Bar on Saturday. I think he just made a slight error. Because of the way the track was playing, Tommy Berry went back inside on the turn, looking for that better ground. The run didn't eventuate, and the bird flew. So you can't take anything away from the winner. She was outside the lead there. And look, she's a good, tough mare. She loves the wet, and she's very honest. But I think Wonder Bar, if he'd come to the outside straight away at the top of the straight, I'm talking through a kick though, might have got home.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, did you follow up? Did you have something on in the end?
I did I wasn't 100% sure on Thursday, but when the rain came, I had to. She's a good wet tracker. Yep. I didn't think she'd be outside lead over 1,200. That 1,200 was my concern with, but that she got into a great spot. She was always going to be hard to beat after that. So when I saw the thing chasing me was Wonder Bar, I knew he'd be on it, Mark. I think it has been stiff. I think you can make a good case. It should have won being held up there at the early in the straight. It's been a great run anyway. She does love the wet, but probably run of the race. I was trying to talk myself into a theory on Thursday, and I gave her the swerve when the rain came too. So that was good. But they're an okay group of mares. Positive Piece got her conditions and gone somewhere near her best, I think.
Yep.
How's she gone around at $16?
No, I don't know. I would have thought maybe because they didn't map it that close, and it was looking very, very leaderish. Sweet Deal was very solid in the market for that reason, I think. But But I would have thought with her heavy track record last autumn, you would have at least cleaned up the $16, but didn't happen.
You missed.
All right, race 8, 1200 metre benchmark 88, and they've gone even once more. There's been a lot of very just even tempos there on the weekend. So 0.2 lengths faster to 600. Rob, it was an interesting little yard race, wasn't it? I mean, I think you ended up with through the cracks on the each way price.
Yeah. Came back forward to my eye. Not a horse I've got much of a handle on. I think I might have only seen it once before. But yeah, lightly raced. High-low looks like it improved, but I was just thinking track pattern, probably don't want to be getting back. And did they announce that they were going to go forward?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
It was certainly announced it was going to be closer and ended up leading because in and up took no part for some reason.
Yeah, it was its race today. But yeah, that in and up looked good as well. But yeah, if I was to out wide Mount Horeb, maybe up in distance on a drier track, a jockey change. But
At Albury
yeah.
too. Albury specialist Mount Horeb.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I don't know. There's not much for me to follow out of the race. Edison's good Saturday off-season horse.
Mark Shean, you finally got there.
Yes. Well, the last 2 races are horses that have haunted us in the last couple of weeks. They've got the chocolate. But I was very happy when she held the rail and was right near the lead there, a little bit closer than last start. So retrospectively, the blinkers going on have made a big difference there to the tempo of the race. But look, I think he only just got through the ground, Hilo.
Yeah.
And I do think he is a better horse with a sit. He's led a lot early in his career and used to fold up. So he's got away with it here with the track pattern. But I think he's a better horse just with a bit of a smother through the race. And I thought through the cracks was outstanding. Looked to be off the bit all the way, and I'm a little bit against Rob here. I thought he still had a fair bit of improvement to my eye, so I think he's being set for one of those races, the Hunter, or one of those $1 million races coming up soon. So I think he'll be a lot fitter next start.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, are you following anything out of race 8 there from Saturday?
Through the cracks was best run in the race, I thought. I agree on that. Edison has never done anything first up, but gee, they knew he was going to on Saturday. He's very well backed and has run really well. I don't know where that leads him for the rest of his prep, but obviously likes the wet too.
Stable like a bet.
Yeah, and he was right up there. I was a bit surprised, similar to Peltzer, that Hilo wasn't shorter. He just looked really well suited out of barrier 1, the way the track was playing, whether he was going to lead or not. He was still drawn inside, and yeah, he wasn't out the gate or anything, but I thought he might, be a chance of running sub 250, but he didn't.
Well, it's interesting to see Josh Parr get away from the inside there on Edison. He'd ridden the previous winner. Now that sort of left Hilo and shifted out 4 or 5 horses.
I wonder if there was just a school of thought that starting to go again.
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, Ice Bath probably could have come down the outside fence him on the last, but it was down middle as well. So maybe, I don't know, because as I agree that Hilo, I don't think he's rated to his best, but has got away with it. And that could be either the fence was starting to go, or it's better with a trail, or he prefers it a bit drier. But I don't think he's gone to his best.
Well, you just mentioned Ice Bath, and we have to touch on race 9 over the mile. They've gone fast here for the class, 2.5 lengths fast to 600. Now, Rob Scurry, if Tom Sherry had replaced Glenn Boss on Sir Dragonet, how many lengths would it have won the Cox Plate by?
At least 3.
I say in jest, he's a very good Group 1 jock.
Hats off, Bossy. He's proved me wrong. He's just a big game player. That's all he is.
I saw him at the races the other day in a Maserati, so he's going better than us.
Saw him playing golf in a cerise shirt. Anyway, yeah, he's a star, Glenn. But look, Ice Bath, how did I talk myself out of this? Jeepers, I sent it out on top. Looked like it held its condition. Looked as good as last start. And I've gone looking for Kathy, which looked a chance to do something, but never. But yeah, follow Tommy Sherry. Don't bet you're flying under $10.
Yeah, indeed. Mark Shean, did you finally get something back from Ice Bath here?
Yeah, it was on Ice Bath. Bless its little heart. She was travelling beautifully in the run. I suppose she might try and back up in the Golden Eagle next week. It's going to rain all week in Sydney, so she's going to get wet conditions to suit. Admittedly, she had no weight here with the claim and has bashed up a pretty ordinary field, but her last 200 looked pretty good to the eye.
Mark Rhoden, anything for yourself to follow out of race 9?
No, I wouldn't be looking too deep into this race for something to follow. We'll say you're being a touch unkind to Bossy, and I've led the charge on a couple of occasions of being unkind to Bossy. But T. Sherry was replacing R. Bayless on this horse.
Yeah, true.
Not too Boss.
The start before though, Bossy, when it should have won, when I was on big time.
I chimed in on Saturday. I actually backed it. Did something on it against good horses last start, but I was on Saturday. But I missed those heartbreakers early, so she certainly doesn't owe me as much as she does you guys.
How am I not on this Sherry? And there he was again, bobbing up with a 25-1 place getter as well on the day.
And just on the winner, we were down to a heavy 8 by this stage, and it certainly was a heavy 8. The winners by Sacred Falls, they've got something like a 19% soft and heavy strike rate, so just keep an eye on them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah. Well, he did love a bog, the horse.
Yeah. Indeed. We'll just run through some horses to follow. Mark Shean, for yourself, is there one or two out of the meeting that you're keen to follow up with next start?
Yeah, I think Through the Cracks will definitely go. If it goes to a mile race, perhaps in Melbourne through the carnival, but Through the Cracks for me.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, for yourself?
Tommy Gold, I think he'll win a race soon. And the 2-year-old Camino Real, if it can find a race over a bit more ground, it was probably the only one outside of the winner, I'd be looking to follow out of the 2-year-olds.
And Rob Scurry, a couple of horses out of the yard that you think might be improving next start.
I'll
just one.
I'll take on Mark Rhoden and say Jumbo Gold's got a race in it for Gary Moore in the 2-year-old. The Bopper, I want to see him parade again. I think he's going to be a good horse. Maybe just one more run this time in.
Okay. And just looking at the week ahead, it is the Yellow Bird race. Mark Shean, as you pointed out, there's a lot of rain forecast around on Wednesday and Thursday at this early stage. Do we dare try and make a track prediction at this early point in the week?
Oh, it'll be heavy for sure. It absolutely teamed here all day yesterday. Heavy 8 already for Wednesday at this stage, and I think it's forecast for rain every day, so it'll be wet.
Okay. Get your flippers out for Saturday then, Rob.
Nice Bath.
26 bucks at the moment, I suppose. Just for what it's worth.
So I'm getting on just for mental
No
health.
betting early, Mark. You just
No,
go
that's
to
right.
the speech.
No. Well, she's backing off on the 1 week backup on a heavy track. Suited. Seems overs.
I think at 26 you can maybe break your rule there, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to be bouncing out of bed tomorrow morning for Hawkesbury on the heavy 10. Oh, lucky if I'll be able to sleep tonight. I'm that excited.
I'm not
I
sure
don't
about.
regret worrying doing that meeting.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend a record-breaking amount of time on it.
I'm not sure about Kenzo Wednesday either.
Yeah.
With this much rain on the day.
Yeah.
Bugger it.
We'll just have to see how the week unfolds at this early stage. I'll join Mark Shean and Mark Rhoden on Thursday to preview the Golden Eagle and whatever else is on the card. We'll see if we've got any more information until then. But guys, thank you for your time. We'll catch up next week.
See you, boys.
That's right.